right, that motivation to make things more meaningful. Hope that you and yours are having a blessed day and finding that serenity that we need to carry on in a positive way. Let it be that your actions are one of purpose. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, back on it, man. Bless up, trying to reach through and continue building on this movement. You dig? Because when we go about promoting that positivity, then that energy creates a more meaningful purpose than when we go about engaging with others. Fortnite. I've seen the name Fortnite, but I don't think I've seen it for. So what's going on? What do we have today? Because I was gonna touch on this analogy with the snake and the rope, but what would you like to go about discussing in the live today? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel the same way that you feel. So bring it forth so that we can go about bringing that inspiration. Well, while you gather your thoughts and go ahead and put it in, let me go back to this little um, snake and the rope analogy. Okay, okay. So now I wanted to touch on this snake and the rope analogy in regards to there's a lot of similarities in life, but we must be careful and cautious when we go about approaching anything because just because it looked like something that you want to see, that doesn't mean that's what it is. Now, the rope and the snake analogy is parallel because body structure and similarities that it goes about bringing would have one believe that it's something that is safe to go about not putting any thought or caution into it. But the thing that goes about affecting us is when we become complacent and taking things for granted. So, when we go about taking things for granted, we are left to learn the lesson the hard way. Just because it looks like a nice girl, that don't mean she's a nice girl, you see. And the one thing, we have to be cautious in our approach and how we're going forth and doing things and how we're going about approaching things. So the whole analogy that I wanted to go about emphasizing today was I need for everyone to go about practicing cautiousness because you don't want to learn the lesson the hard way. And too many times we have become complacent in our thinking and believing that we know everything. So we throw caution to the wind. We are not cautious in when we go about approaching anything and so forth. And the thing that is more disturbing rather than not is that we have an excuse because the snake goes around and biting us. You didn't bother the snake. The, the snake didn't bother you. You bothered the snake. So when we come to realize our actions have a consequential price to pay because of not being or not focusing on what we are doing, it leaves us at a disadvantage. The one thing that I would like to go about adding to this is that too many times we find ourselves in places where we don't belong. Meaning, if we go into somebody else's habitat or where they live and so forth, and we go about disrupting their natural way of doing things, and they go about reacting in a negative way, we can't blame that person for acting the way they act, because we were the one that went about disrupting that. Now, anytime there's disruption, there has to be consequential that goes about coming out of that disruption that's been caused. Hey, what's up? Okay. I saw you're live playing baseball. Yeah, man, I'm trying to teach my son the fine points to the fundamentals. The fundamentals is key to life, and how you go about applying yourself in everything. Because if you don't master the fundamentals, then it'll be harder for you to go about getting better at whatever you're trying to go about doing. Fundamentals is very key and important. Like, sometimes I would go to the park, I take my son to the park, and I would watch some of these kids playing basketball. They want to do the between the legs, they want to do the fadeaway jump shot, but okay, I play football, wrestling, and baseball. Okay. So, we're playing football, wrestling, and baseball. What is the one thing that you have gone about taking out of each of those sports to help you look at life from a different perspective? In regards to baseball, is a fast sport, so your reaction must be quick. You must be able to think quick on your feet. So even though it's just a sport, even though it's just something you do for recreation at this moment in time in your life, I need for you to go about applying certain aspects that you learn in baseball and settle yourself. Because once you start slowing life down, you will be able to go about making better decisions. Wrestling, it's all about thinking ahead. So it's showing you that you have to come up with implementations and plans in which you can go about applying to yourself on your daily basis. You dig? So everything is showing you that without a plan, you're not going to make it. Without exercising, without practicing, without a constant focus, you're going to be left behind. So I like that, man. Keep that up. I hope them grades is good. Make it so that them grades is on point. Because, like I tell everybody, sports is only one aspect of your life. You got to live with yourself forever. And you got to have something up here, which you can go about holding down whatever position you're placed in. So make sure them grades is on point. Make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Helping around the house. Hey, it'll build character. That's the value of a true person going forth, you follow. So look for ways to get better every day. I hope that you break it down and become humble enough to see that the opportunity that you're given, a lot of people only go about wishing for it. Hey, you're going to do chores from now to the day you go on with life, man. Chores is a everyday thing that it's just preparing you for later on in life. And that's what life is about. Everything you're going through now is just a preparation course for what's to come. But a lot of us, being at that age, we believe that, oh, it's only hard and this and that, but it's only a preparation. Your peoples want good for you. So it's upon you to go about exercising that and go about getting better at it. Because the one thing I want you to remember out of all of these lives is the effort that you go about putting in goes about building up who you're to become. If you're half-assing things, you're going to get half-assed results. If you're putting all your effort into it, you're going to learn and see what it is that you're doing wrong in life. That's the key. No matter what it is you're doing, give it your all. That's the key that I need each and everyone to go about implementing in their life. No matter what the consequences, no matter what the situation may be, you make every opportunity like it's your last. Maximize it, and win, draw, or lose. If you're honest with yourself, you're going to take something away from that experience. Don't be afraid to lose, because then you will never win. And in order for us to become winners, we can't be afraid to lose. Only losers are afraid to win. That's why they will never do anything in life. So you have to adapt that mentality. And in adapting that mentality, you will see by the effort that you go about putting in, you're going to get the results you're looking for. Set goals for yourself. I hope that you're planning on going to college and stretching forth. So, grades is very important. That's why I'm talking to you. I have to go have a good day. Okay, blessing there, Fortnite. Hey, my prayers go out to you, and stay on it, man. Stay on it. That's what I'm talking about. Stay on it and just keep going. That's what life is about. All the hard work you're putting in will pay off. You just got to be consistent and being constant. Don't let nothing knock you off of your goal that you're trying to go about achieving for yourself. So, talking to the young ones, it's a blessing, because they are the ones coming after us. This life goes by fast. We can't take this knowledge with us. We must go about passing this knowledge on. We must go about instilling good values so that they can look at life from a perspective that helps them want more out of life. Because at that age, they're only trying to go about figuring it out. And in figuring things out, it's our job as the elders to go about shedding light on things in which they are not too clear on. So, going back to the snake and the rope analogy, if we do not go about practicing caution, then will we be left to be taught a very hard lesson? But too many of us, we get complacent. And in being complacent, that's when things go wrong. But I'm here to tell you, what you practice is just a reflection in how you go about applying yourself. Despite how people come with many excuses, they do not go about holding themselves accountable. And in not holding yourself accountable, you are less prepared to go about dealing with any situation. But let's just say you practice caution, you took your time, and you still found out that it was a snake that you grabbed. Every creation is driven by vibration. If you become afraid while grabbing that snake will become afraid as well. And that snake will do what is natural in defending itself. You can't blame the snake. That's part of the snake's defense mechanism. So I tell you this. Yes, it's a snake. But physics teaches that for every action, there's a reaction. So if we don't want the negative action to take place, there are certain things that we must go about doing on our end. For one, we must go about eliminating that fear, because that fear triggers a volatility that I don't think we're prepared for. And in being triggered in that volatile state, there's going to be, let's just say, not happy candidates. Because when a snake bites, it's only to go about defending itself. So the one things that we must keep in the back of our minds is that despite whatever situation we go about finding ourselves in, it's only going to try to teach us that, one, we must be cautious. 2, we must leave fear alone. 3, we must not live by perception. And 4, we must be ready for whatever is coming our way. You see, too many times we go where we're not supposed to be. And in going where we're not supposed to be, it has us looking for things that should not be exercised. If you don't know a dog, leave that dog alone. Certain things in life is, don't go about seeing if that dog bites just to see if it's a mean dog. But because we don't know ourselves, we find ourselves all over the place. And that's why it's key. We have to come to know who we are, so we are not left finding out some lessons the hard way. You can't see what's there only because you haven't opened your eyes. And in opening your eyes, you will see what's hidden. The truth is hidden in plain sight. But it's just because you're asleep. That's why you are being affected by day-to-day rigors. But I want you to know this. When you throw caution to the wind, it makes it harder to find peace. Because when we become disrespectful, something about life is going to do what it do to go about putting us in our place. All things is a point of emphasis. Like when you live life by perception, reality will come to strike. So it's best you go about leaving perception behind. Because just because you perceived it to be a rope, that snake gonna make you cry. So know this, that we are not to go about taking things for granted and believing that we know. Too many times we are left not knowing or not understanding that because of our perception, we are going around putting ourselves in predicament that is not valid. It's not valid in that the danger we go about putting ourselves in. But blessing be unto the most, because even with our ignorance, protection comes to help us along the way. So be okay in knowing that you become awoke in the direction that you're taking. Because he who knows and yet still practices foolishness, there has to be a punishment of some sort, because there's a disregard. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And since you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then it's going to be hard. So make it so. Make it so that your steps is valid. The whole snake in the analogy is caution your step before you make the next one. Don't believe that you know what's going on. Leave fear behind. And you must be mindful that just because it looks good, that don't mean it's really that good. So make it so. Now that's my blessing. One.